Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. Good to see you all. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 7:02. Who is our inspirator this morning? Oh, well, I forgot I was a roll holder, so this is perfect timing. Well, I was to say this is good to have David Jones here this morning in person. And this morning's theme is baseball. So let's enjoy America's favorite pastime. And maybe there might be some battles between Yankees and Mets and but let's enjoy some of America's favorite pastime this morning as we say good morning. All right, so we will stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any announcements from the floor? Yes, come up, Lynn.
Well, Toastmasters, we're compiling the fourth quarter schedule. You should have received an email from me. Just indicate on the dates in that email which ones you're not available for or any role preferences so that we can get them assembled and out on time. And everybody knows what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. I have an announcement. I don't know if anybody got an email from Chris Badgerbach, but she's her and Kay are looking for row holders for the demo for the Lockport High School DECA class next month. So please reach out to Kate and Chris and sign up for row holders. With that, if there are any other announcements, I'll turn things over to our Toastmaster of the day. Let's welcome David Jones.
Thank you, Eric. You're welcome. Good morning, everybody. It's nice to be in person, and hello to everybody on Zoom. Hi. It's a great setup, just being able to look at everything. So thank you to Lynn and Mark, because that's a big job to do every week. All right, so my theme is baseball. And it's baseball not to compete with the New York Met guy over here, but because I never was into baseball until my 40s. My father and I, we grew up in the Florida Keys and Miami, and there wasn't a lot of baseball back then. It was always being out in the boat. But my father-in-law, my former father-in-law, who was from Cuba, really got me into baseball because that was his thing. And I enjoyed watching it with him, learning from him. I'd ask him 100 questions. I was probably very annoying when he was teaching me about baseball. And I learned that it's a very long sport. That's why a lot of people don't watch it. You just sit there for 3 hours waiting for somebody to hit the ball. But it's that moment when a great play happens or a great home run happens that makes it worthwhile. And I've learned that over time. And one of my favorite moments that I want to share was Stanton from the Yankees. And I was watching the game and he had his 300th home run. And what was amazing to me, and I put it on Facebook, was they showed the stands, and there was like 4 nuns, like real nuns, not kids dressed up, nuns, and they were cheering. And I was like, that's so amazing to see 4 nuns cheering for a baseball team at the game. I thought it was an incredible moment. And those are the type of moments as you come up today, if you want to share any baseball or sports, you might not be into baseball, any sports moments that stand out to you in life that kind of inspired you. But first, we're going to get a word of the day. And we're going to get that from Dave Licata. You thought I was going to stretch it out further. Does that mean a lot of people are going to be in shock when I call them for roles? Slowly he turned, step by step. I think I was the Three Stooges.
Thank you.
At Niagara Falls.
Not only have I managed to pick a word, but this word is going to be so easy because I'm going to give you credit if you back up your sentence that this gentleman may have said. So the word of the day is Bera, as in Yogi Berra. So you can use yogi, you can use Bera, or you can use a phrase like hitting is 100%, 50%, 90% mental. So it's Berra, honoring the great Yogi Berra, who had more championship rings than a lot of people. Yogi Berra, Berra. Thank you.
Thank you. Yogi Berra, he was, I'm assuming, baseball coach. That was before my time. Okay, write that one down. And before I call on the next person, I just also wanted to say that, and I've said this many, many times, when I first came to to AM Lockport, Eric had invited me. I was on Zoom. My club, I was club president. We're coming out of the pandemic and we were really struggling. We probably had 12 members. Now we're at 67. And I give a lot of credit to Lockport, just learning from you, also becoming district director as part of Lockport. So I consider this my second home. So I would like to present you all with the home of the district director little thing here, because this is my second home. Thank you, Eric. There you go. I was talking to Dave last night. He thinks this is the second district director you've had in your club. He's not sure. Right. Okay. This is my favorite club. People get tired of hearing about it. I'm always like, my club in New York, they do it this way. And they're like, what? Well, we're here now. So, all right. So Mary, you're going to be our master. You want to come up and tell us about your role? And she's showing her New York Yankees shirt. So thank you.
I'm not a Yankees fan, but my sister's boyfriend's a big time Yankees fan. I'm gonna be counting the bad languages, ahs, ums, and so's and buts, but I'll report at the end of the meeting.
Thank you. I don't think Les is here. Didn't we get a note because he's our grammarian? Did somebody know? Okay. Anybody want to for grammarian? No. Okay. Thank you, Marty. Appreciate it. Do you have another rule? Not good. Okay, so if you want to hit both of them. Good to see you in person too. Good.
Welcome, David. Great to see you. Thanks for coming to our meeting. I don't know if Yogi Berra would approve of my jest, but here it goes. These are the credit goes to Just Bat's website. And the first one is, what did the baseball glove say to the ball? Catch you later. Okay. What position is the best water boy? The pitcher, right? I'm sure you guys have heard of all these, but one last thing before you start throwing things at me. Why are frogs good baseball players? Because they're good at catching flies, right? Okay. And as grammarian, moving into the second role, which you'll probably like to hear me talk about more, as grammarian, I'll be very carefully listening to everyone that speaks and recording good uses of English language and poor uses of English language. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. David. Thank you.
And now we'll move over to Zoom with Maggie, who is going to be our quote master. Maggie.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. For Dave Licata, baseball is 90% mental and the other half is physical by Yogi Berra. Okay, check. I got those things done. I would like to say the way a team plays as a whole determines its success. You may have the greatest bunch of individual stars in the world, but if they don't play together, that was Babe Ruth. Baseball teaches us that when a player When a player, maybe a prayer, when a player leaves the field, the game carries on. But the team is never quite the same. In life, too, when someone is gone, their absence is felt in every inning. That's not a written quote. That's just something I'd like to say. I'll pass it back to you, Dave
Thank
Jones.
Thank you, Maggie. Good job. And our timer is Mike Licata, and I'm sure you have some interesting sports stories you'd like to share. Thank you.
Thank you, David. I probably could make an entire speech about it, and I'm already coming up with ideas. My job this morning as timer is to everything in Toastmasters, all the speeches are timed. We have changed it up just to remind everyone again that our table topics is now 1 to 2 minutes. Our speeches are usually 5 to 7, and our evaluations are usually 2 to 3. And the thing that I love most about baseball is the fact that working with Little League and doing younger kids, it's still fun to go to the ballpark all summer, in the spring and summer. I still get a kick out of watching kids celebrate those special moments, those simple special moments as part of the game. It's a game that I love, the game that I've chosen to still be around, and I've taken it as an honor and as a pleasure of being an umpire here locally. We'll put that as.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike. All right, yeah, the park next to my house, we have, what is it, baseball, football, soccer, tennis. We have all that going on, but we also have cricket, which I don't see cricket that often, but it's kind of cool to see them playing cricket when I go walking by there. So that's a fun part. And finally, our general evaluator, he was wondering if I was going to call him there, Michael Floria. There you go.
Fellow Toastmasters, this morning I will be evaluating the meeting and evaluating the evaluators. And with regard to baseball has been very good to me. And yogi, I mean, there's tons of yogis. It's okay. I've got 2. I have to come up here and do a couple of yogis. If you don't know where you're going, you might wind up someplace else. That's a yogiism. And then when you come to a fork in the road, take it. This is Toastmaster.
And now I can say finally, Kate, our quiz master, just came in. So welcome, Kate. Good to see you.
Oh my goodness. Who put Kate in charge of the meeting today? Oh, it was Kate. Good job, Kate. Totally late. Thank you guys so much. As quizmaster, I'll be listening and quizzing you at the end. And I have a box of goodies for everybody today. So usually I don't come to this meeting, David. This means I'm very excited. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for coming. All right, so it's the fun time for table topics, and we're going to have Darcy run our table topics. Welcome.
Thank you and good morning, everybody. I must admit, I don't watch a lot of baseball, don't know a lot about baseball, but I do watch the World Series. Finding people that don't already have jobs for tabletop is kind of a challenge. So the only person I see is Nancy that doesn't have a job this morning, but I promise I'll ask for volunteers for number 2 and 3, and I promise I'll make the questions pretty simple. So, Nancy, tell us your experience when you attended a Major League Baseball game, or if you haven't attended a Major League Baseball game, why might you want to go, or why might you not want to go? Got a lot of room there.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk about something I know absolutely nothing about. My father did take us to a couple Major League Baseball games. I think one in Boston, some in New Haven. Most of the time I was under the bleachers looking for quarters or I don't know anything, just to get away from the game. I'm not a sports fan. I remember my dad was an umpire for Little League. And Little League, now these are kids this age, and one of the parents got mad at his call. I don't know, he made some call that they didn't appreciate, and they rolled his car down an embankment, and it was upside down when we went to go home. I never realized that Little League was so important to parents' self-esteem. Anyway, I have heard of Yogi Berra. I know he's a baseball player. That's all I know about him, so I will use his name. Thank you, madam. Table topics.
Thank you very much, Nancy. I understand, people that watch sports and they enjoy it, and my husband enjoys it, and I go in the other room. But I guess I'd rather be a participant than a spectator most of the time in my life. Okay, second question, and I'm going to need a volunteer. David is pointing. Okay, thank you, Mark. I did a little bit of research online, and I see that baseball salaries are very high, anywhere from 5 million up to 70 million. So my question is, in your humble opinion, defend a baseball salary or tell us why you don't condone that salary?
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, good morning. I agree, they're overpaid. After that, I will call an audible. I'll do my own thing here. For me, I got into baseball in the early 70s, and I am a Mets fan, not because I'm from Queens. The only difference is there were plenty of Yankee fans from Queens. My uncles, who were Dodgers and Giants fans, were taking me out to Shea Stadium as a young lad. And fun fact, Yogi Berra was the Mets manager during that period of time. See, Yogi had a very distinguished career as a Yankee, about as unparalleled as you could ask for in terms of his success and winning. But he concluded his career as a Met and then ultimately became the Mets manager. And during that period of time, he had taken them to the World Series in 1973. So that period of time, early 70s, when they were taking me to the ballpark, the Mets were the dominant team in town. Didn't last for long. But that's where my love affair with baseball began. I think it's a fabulous game. The people that say it's too slow, it's too boring, I would maintain that when the stakes are the highest, during the pennant race and the World Series, playoffs, World Series, those pauses in the action just build the drama and make the game that much more exciting. At its best, baseball is unparalleled. Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Mark. So now I need a volunteer who is very passionate about watching sports. Can be baseball, can be any sport, but I need somebody that's very passionate about that. Thank you, Steve. Tell us what captivates you to watch a sports game.
Well, I think I'm going to call a bit of audible too, but usually it's watching the team win. The last couple of nights for the Yankees, that hasn't been happening, unfortunately. I do want to set the record straight because, as Dave will attest, when you're on stage, or particularly when you're doing yogiisms, the exact wording is important. The quote was, 90% of the game is half mental. You got to say it the right way or it doesn't make sense. What he said doesn't make sense anyway, but if you butcher it up, it's even worse. He had another quote. Someone asked him about a certain restaurant. He said, nobody goes there anymore. It's too crowded. But I would like to talk briefly, and that's all I got up here, about when I was growing up, my brother and I actually had a ball diamond on the back of our lot. Our lot's 700 foot deep. And I still live there, by the way. So on the back couple, 300 feet, we made a ball diamond and all the kids from the neighborhood would be down there. And let's see, that was some close to 60 years ago. So I think the statute of limitations is up on most of this. We got our supplies from some questionable sources, to say the least. We stole stuff. But I think at this point in time, I'm safe in admitting all this. But we had a great time down there. We had a lot of ball games, a lot of arguments. Funny thing, we solved them. We didn't have parents in there. We didn't have lawyers. Didn't have any of that. We didn't even break out into fist fights most of the time. But we had arguments and we solved them our own way. So in that regard, I thought it was a good thing. And I see I'm running out of time here. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve, and thank you to all the table topics participants. And now I'm going to turn the meeting over to our Toastmaster, David Jones.
Thank you. All right, can we get a timers report, Mike? Thank you. Mike.
David. I can report that all three of our table topics, people qualified on time. Nancy came in at 1:10, Mark came in at 1:32, and Steve came in at 1:45. So based on time, everyone came in.
Thank you. And on deck for baseball is Dave Licata with the word of the day.
I'd like to salute my brother and sister Toastmasters here this morning, because you did pick up on the idea that if you used a quote by Yogi, and then I enlarged it because that is a tough word to remember. Anytime you used a baseball phrase, a line common to baseball, I gave you credit as well. So Marty used it, and Maggie Craig used it. Mike Licata said change up, and that's a baseball term. Mike Floria come out twice and used Yogi Berra. And for the table topic portion, Nancy used it, Mark used it, and Steve Smith used it. And I want to tell you a story. Mrs. Berra looked at Yogi late in life and said, Yogi, when you die, do you want to be buried or cremated? And Yogi Berra's response was, surprise me.
To that, when my parents got divorced when I was 2 years old, and they've been apart ever since, obviously. And they're both elderly, and I told them both that they're going to be cremated and put into the same urn for all of eternity. So they don't like that, but it might happen. Just a little payback for my childhood. So today, all three of our speakers are on Zoom, so y'all can just sit back and be in a little drive-through. And we're going to start with, and I saw the drive-through down the street. Is that still in works or still in existence? Is it? It's going? Yeah. It's probably been 40 years since I've been to a drive-in. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. Oh, really? That's funny. All right, sorry for those on Zoom. We're just chatting about the movie theater. All right, so first up is going to be Tracy Farrell. She is level 3 elective from Persuasive Influence, Inspire Your Audience, 5 to 7 minutes, Mr. Timer. And it is Speaking from the Heart, Tracy Farrell. Thank you.
Hello, Toastmasters. Speaking from the heart, I have to tell you, this week, Niagara County hosted NYSAC, the New York State Association of Counties. And what that meant is about 600 executives descended upon the Niagara Falls Convention Center in order to learn best practices for their positions. So I attended taxation and finance, kind of fell asleep, but one of those sessions I attended was communicating from the heart. And actually that enables us to be better leaders. And I thought, yeah, this is a topic relevant to Toastmasters. Because why? It helps us to build better teams and improves our relationships with others. And HEART is actually an acronym. H is for honesty. So when we communicate, we should always be as honest as possible, because we always know when somebody's telling us something and those things, just what they're telling us just doesn't add up. We kind of know either they're not adding up or we have that gut feeling in our stomach. And that still happens too. When we communicate with others, they know we're not being honest with them. Part of being honest is don't be afraid to show your emotions. Let them know how you really feel about things. And maybe that doesn't mean going on and on about blubbering about how your goldfish died last night. But as an example, I had a meeting with HR trying to advocate for our tax mappers to get a raise. It didn't go well at all. So when I came back to the office, I went on and on about how these idiots and sitting in their ivory towers had no idea the job of a tax mapper, their computer skills that they need, the attention to detail that they need, everything that they need to do. I might have conveyed it a little bit too strongly, used some stronger phrases with it. And afterwards, I was like, I went overboard. I really shouldn't have let my emotions get ahead of me. But it was a couple days later when I was speaking to one of those tax mappers, and they said, really appreciate you backing us up, helping us. I know you weren't successful, but you get an E for effort. E's okay for me. The next letter in HEART is E, and it's not for effort, it's for effective. You have to really know your audience and deliver effective communication. Even if we're talking to a highly educated audience, we really shouldn't be using big words. We really need to keep it simple, because our goal, it's not to show off how big our vocabulary is. We need to be clear and concise. So when we're giving assignments or asking somebody to do something, we have to tell them exactly what we want them to do, how we want them to do it. If they don't understand the process, what it's going to look like when it's done, and maybe just to help them understand that process, what this project's going to be used for. And then I'm setting a deadline. When you set a deadline, you're following up. Hey, Sally, how's it going? Do you need anything from me? That small little nudge to say, what's going on? Do you need anything from me? And it gives them the opportunity to give me some feedback. Maybe they do need something for me. And that leads to A in HEART, acceptance. In my follow-up and listening what they tell me, I have to give them the opportunity to give me information, tell me the information I didn't give them to complete their project. Yeah, sometimes that's a little bit of a hard pill to swallow, because none of us really like negative feedback. We don't like it in our jobs. We don't like those bad evaluations in Toastmasters. But when we get that feedback, it allows us to improve. Or maybe we're hearing something that we didn't know we were doing. So following up, listening to how others are perceiving us, and then giving them respect. So the next letter in HEART is R for respect. Part of communication is listening, and we're actively listening to the other person. We're hearing their concerns. That's really giving them the respect that they need. Do they enjoy what they're doing? Are they upset with us the way it's being presented? How can we help them better achieve their goals? And finally, the last letter in HEART is T for trust. If we're being H, honest, E, effectively communicating with what needs to be done, A, accepting that feedback from our employees, and R, responding to their needs, we are building T. for trust with those around us. So it all adds up to communicating from the heart. And I'll give you a quote, probably from John Ford, but who knows? It could have been Yogi Berra. You are speaking well if your tongue can deliver the message from your heart. Fellow Toastmasters.
Thank you, Tracy. And Sylvia, I apologize. I totally missed you. As I said, people are tired of me saying my New York club does it this way. Most clubs that I've been to do not do the evaluator first. So I apologize for not calling up, but I am going to call up Jill for our second speaker. I'm assuming your sporty things are horse related. So let's see what you have for sport.
Oh, okay. For sports, let's see. I never liked baseball for reasons of the slowness and the pitcher throwing this way and the pitcher throwing that way and the pitcher not actually throwing that way. Yeah. And it was just too slow and too boring. But the last 2 years, Steve and I have been going over to my dad's house and having supper there. 90% of the time I do the cooking. Once in a while I say, you guys cook. But rather than just eat and run, we usually watch TV for a while. Might be baseball games, might turn into football games. But Dad likes the Yankees. And we've been listening to him complain the last 2 nights quite a bit. And sometimes I just kind of fall asleep, so I don't listen to it. But it is still exciting when Judge hits a home run or any the other guys hit a home run. Anyhow, I am evaluating Phil this week. He is doing a reprise of last week's speech, which is Innovating Planning, Level 3, Researching and Presenting. And his title is Planning for the Future again. It's 5 to 7 minutes. So take it away, Phil.
Are you trusting your vibes? Or are you planning ahead? I was did a great speech on planning ahead. After this topic, I'm trusting my vibes. Enough of that nonsense. The game ain't over till it's over. Now, who taught who? Was it Casey Stengel? Or was it Yogi Berra teaching each other? Those two could communicate great on this bench. I would love to hear those conversations. If you don't know, Casey was as bad at grammar as Yogi. Notoriously. Let me tell you that. Oh, I got a couple of stories. You brought up baseball. When we were kids, Yankees, Giants, Dodgers, all New York teams. And of course, there's Cleveland right down the road. Who do we watch? Who's our favorite? We're in second grade. We're watching baseball. We're arguing. We have no clue. But I'm going to tell you one thing. On our way to St. Pat's School, these were the greatest discussions ever. We solved all of the problems. And when I heard about those 4 nuns, let me tell you something. I went to St. Patrick's School, and when there was a good game on, our nuns had it on the radio. We loved it. They knew how to entertain little boys and girls. You couldn't believe it. It was great. Just imagine that, the World Series, and you're in 8th grade or 7th grade, didn't matter. We're listening to it because sister loved the game of baseball. We even had a team when 5th grade, the Mysolites. That's because her name was Sister Marcella. We had a great time. We even had one game against St. John's. Lots of fun, lots of fun. Now, trusting my vibes, this is the story. New York Yankees. We're going down to the city. We drove down Willie's car. Good ride, good ride. Got all the way there. For those of you from the city or know the city, we're staying at the Algonquin, the old Algonquin. You drive up to the front. Guy comes out, you throw him the keys, and you go to your room. Unbelievable. We already had the reservations, the tickets to the Yankees game. We get up in our room, we're getting settled. And what's Willie doing? Now, Willie was a Toastmaster. Some of you might remember. He's not with us anymore, but he's in our hearts. Willie was standing at his suitcase, looking, perplexed, looking. We knew what it was. Willie, I can't find the tickets, you guys. Oh, no. Where are they? I think they're in the car. Okay. What am I going to do? I don't know where the car is because they parked in some parking lot. I don't know where it is. Willie, call up the doorman. You're going to give him $20. He's going to go to the car. He's got the keys, and he's going to bring the tickets back. Doorman comes up. I know where the car is. Goes out. Sure enough, here he comes back. Willie, give him another 20. We got the tickets. There's all 4 of us. We're going, all right, we're saved. Take the subway, get down to Yankee Stadium. It's an old timers game. Now, all the old timers are there. Now, where's Willie when I need him? Because he knows every Yankee statistic there ever was in the world. One of the greatest all timers gets up, and sure enough, he whacked that home run. Wow. I can't remember who was playing. We didn't care. We're in Yankee Stadium. We're we're on first baseline. It's a great day. It's beautiful baseball day. Come on. It's better than sitting at the Wilson House on a Saturday afternoon drinking a swilling of beer. We're in Yankee Stadium. Instead of watching it on that stupid boob tube, we're in Yankee Stadium. Oh, man, was that ever great. Oh. And then we went out to a couple of places for dinner and things like that. Oh, there's nothing like it. Baseball is America's game. It's been there. It's been there. Now, I have my green on. The green lights come up. My green on is two reasons why. Okay? Here we go. Number 1, Celtic weekend. Celtic Fest this weekend. Gonna be there. Hopefully, the weather says it's gonna be beautiful. Second reason. On Thursday, that's why I won't be at Toastmasters next week. Taking off for South Bend. Notre Dame, Purdue. One of the great rivalries in football. And on Sunday, the Bills are playing the Jets, and you never know what's going to happen in that game. Jets went 13-1, Bills went 1-13. Guess who won that game? So I just followed my vibes as opposed to doing planning. Next time I'll probably talk about planning. I did some planning, but boy, when you brought up baseball, that brought back some of the fondest memories I've ever had. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Phil. Okay. Carolyn is here to evaluate Margot Subitner, and any great sports stories for us.
when I was growing up, my dad was a very much Yankee fan. And I remember watching all the games, or quite a few of them, on TV with back then names like Mickey Mantle, Roger Maris, Whitey Ford, of course, Yogi Berra. And I did go to one professional game in Cleveland. It was Cleveland versus Detroit Tigers. We went with my uncle. He was very much a Cleveland fan, and it was a great game. I think they were tied going in the bottom of the ninth, and Cleveland got a home run, and there were fireworks, and so it was quite an experience. Today, I am evaluating Margot. Her pathway is strategic relationships, cross-cultural understanding, and the purpose of her project is to identify her own cultural identities and stereotypes that impact others' perceptions of her. And Mr. Timer, 5 to 7 minutes. The title, Everyone Has a Name. Margot, everyone has a name.
Thank you very much. The rest of my introduction, Mr. Timer, if you can hold me 1 second, is that this is the sermon I have to give next week at Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year. So I know we don't usually do religious speeches, but this is the perfect place to taste it. So test it with Mr. Toastmaster. Each of Us Has a Name by Zelda Mishkowski. Each of us has a name given by God and given by our parents. Each of us has a name given by our stature and our smile and by what we wear. Each of us has a name given by the mountains and given by our walls. Each of us has a name given by the stars and given by our neighbors. Each of us has a name given by our sins and given by our longing. Each of us has a name given by our enemies and given by our love. Each of us has a name given by our celebrations and given by our work. Each of us has a name given by the seasons and given by our blindness. Each of us has a name given by the sea and given by our death. Each of us has various names, titles, if you will. Some are versions of our name that our parents gave us. Some are nicknames. Some are the roles we play in life. In my case, some know me as Margot. Some as Margot Sue, although if you use Margot Sue, it shows you really don't know me. My uncle called me Maggie. At Temple, where I grew up, I was Miriam or Miriam Shoshana because there were tons of Miriam in my class. I'm regularly called Mom, Aunt, Boss, Hun. And when I'm in a room of young people, I'm one of those who prefers Mrs. Bittner. One of the traditions is naming a child for someone who has passed. One of the reasons is to keep their memory alive. Another is to pass their good qualities to the next generation. Sometimes it means using the same English or Hebrew name, and sometimes we find names with the same initials. Other times we look at the meaning of the names. I'm named for my grandfather Meyer, which means enlightened. Margot means pearl. Sue means lily. Shoshana means rose, both flowers. Now, many of you know Kevin, my oldest. When he strides into a room, his size and his body language might give you pause. But the name Kevin means kind and gentle, which truly describes him. In today's reading, the binding of Isaac can be thought to be focusing on the roles we play. Abraham was pushed to be obedient, to follow a path, to have faith that obedience is the proper path. But at the same time, Abraham means father of multiples. If he had followed through sacrificing his son Isaac, he would not be the father of as many multitudes. Ishmael would have been the only surviving son. As I think about the role Abraham played in this story, I question, is that the role a father is meant to fill, to follow? My opinion, not usually. The father, as a parent, is the one who leads, who guides, who teaches. Likewise, Isaac means laughter. I don't think there was a lot for Isaac to laugh about in this story. If there is one word that stands out in this portion, that would be the Hebrew word hineni, which means here I am. And that's Abraham's answer when his name is called throughout this portion. Likewise, when any of our names, titles are called, we answer. Maybe not with hineni, but with yes, hello, how can I help? Or as my kids say to me, what do you want, Ma? As I was thinking about names, their meanings, and how they reflect on ourselves, I did a little research. I was thinking about the Sabbath services for the coming year and looking through all the wonderful services from the past. Yes, doing my annual R&D, rip off and duplicate. I noticed an interesting trend among the names we use for God. The early services used Lord, which gave way to ruler. That defines one role God plays in our lives. There were a myriad of other names: El Shaddai, God Almighty; Shekhinah, feminine name, one who shelters; Elohim, Avinu, Malkeinu, parent. Why are there so many names for God? Here are a few explanations I found. Some names reflect the role we need God to play in our lives today. Some reflect where we are in the Jewish holiday life cycle. Some reflect where we want to be in life. Some reflect what we want to be in life. Some of the names are singular, some of them are plural, defining our roles as individuals or our names in our community. Hebrew, being a language which is both masculine and feminine in its derivation, reflects that in many of the names for God. Those names reflect where we see society as a whole and what we want society to be. It's also interesting to note that the names of God have been used for places, synagogues, temples, and places in our stories. Bethel, home of my God; Beth Elohim, home of our God; Beth Emet, Emmanuel, to name a few. Again, those reflect the role the group of organizers saw God playing in their life. With so many names for us to use, I've been pondering, what names do I want to use for God? Do some of them resonate with me more than others? Have we always used the names respectfully? If not, why do we need a commandment to not take God's name in vain? So to tie all of this together, to think about Abraham's response to his name, the names we use for God, and the meaning of all of our names, everyone has a name we like to be called, and one others like to use. Everyone has a name, one with meaning that reflects who we are, one with meaning that stresses us to reach to be more. Everyone has a name, one that reflects familiarity, one that garners respect. Everyone has a name that gives them the unique place in our families, in our community, and in our world. May the response we give when we hear our name help those around us and add to the enrichment of our society throughout the coming year. And may this always be so. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Margot. It says unmute on the screen. Is that for us on Zoom? No, just randomly there. Sounds good. All right, if we can get the timer's report from Mike, thank you.
Thank you again, Mr. Toastmaster. I am proud to say all of our speakers qualified on time this morning. Tracy at 6:05, Phil Russell at 6:35, and Margot at 6:44. So everyone is eligible this morning. I'll turn it back to Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mike. We are way ahead of schedule, so I'd like to call on a couple people who do not have roles today and the opportunity to speak, to share some sports stories with us. And Mr. President Joe, I saw you sneak in and hide behind some people. The theme is baseball, but you can talk about any sport you'd like. And the word of the day is Yogi Berra. Thank you, sir.
Well, I used to watch Yogi Bear, the cartoon. I never knew he was actually named after a baseball player until later. That was interesting. Well, I was never into baseball, but when I worked at Aurora House, which is a group home for kids here in Lockport, we actually took the kids to Toronto, which of course I was thrilled to death to go to Toronto for the day, and we actually saw the Toronto Blue Jays perform compete, which was pretty interesting. I was never really into sports. I did actually do Little League. I don't know why, because I hated every second of it. I was never good at sports and phys ed, especially baseball. I'd always struck out. But I do recall this one day during phys ed, we went outside, we were playing baseball, I went up to bat. The opposing team, they all moved up because they assumed because I sucked, I was going to strike out. Well, the pitcher threw the ball and I smacked that ball all the way out to outfield. It served them right. Thank you. So, but I've been a little bit more open-minded as far as sports goes. I do enjoy seeing the Bills, and I'm a Bills fan, and I do love watching the Olympics. So I hope everyone has a good weekend, and look forward to the Celtic Festival this weekend too. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. And finally, Lynn. Lynn, you're the last one without a roll. If you have any sports stories you'd like to talk about? Yeah. Just general conversation.
Baseball been very, very good to me. You got to say it with the right accent. I'm dating myself. We're dating ourselves. That's an early Saturday Night Live skit with Garrett Morris playing Chico Escuela. Exactly. What am I doing up here?
Talking about your favorite sports moment.
I had a recent sports moment having to do with baseball. I took a bus excursion from Tonawanda to Cleveland to see the Guardians play the Yankees, and that was very enjoyable. Progressive Field, I guess it is only $100 round trip. Yeah, of course, you can bring your own beverages on the bus, which was nice. And then we get there, and right behind our seats is a food court, and all the food was free. All of it. Literally all you had to pay for was your beer, which was not cheap, but it's a major league stadium. So what are you going to do? Yankees lost that game handily, but it was an enjoyable night. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
That's one of the things we've instituted for membership retention, is making sure that every member gets to speak at every meeting. And as you can imagine, my club was 67 members. It can be challenging, but fortunately only half of them show up at every meeting. So everybody gets to speak. All right, we'll move into the evaluation section. And the person I skipped, Sylvia, is going to evaluate Tracy's. Yes. And if you want to share your favorite sports moment with us as well.
I have many baseball stories. I have two boys, young men now, that started Little League baseball at age 5. And one of them went all the way into college, playing baseball for the 4 years that he was there. So I have many stories. And the most memorable one, though, probably made me a Mets fan, because my parents were big Yankees. Western New York, you had to be a Yankees fan. And we were watching one time, and I think I was probably 6, 7. I know I was very young. And my mother loved the Yankees. They were watched the games every night. So I couldn't figure out why. I'm sitting next to her, and why I'd rather watch something else, why they want to watch this. And she said, watch the coach, Billy Martin. I'll never forget him. Getting into the ump's face. Could you imagine that, Mike, a coach getting into your face today? Right in there, right nose to nose, yelling at each other, and then kicking dirt on the ump. And it was funny. So at that point, I said, I'm going to go for the other team. Let's go. Anyone who they play, I'm going to go for the other team. Well, as I get older, I started watching the Mets more and more. And my husband ended up buying me a Bet's jacket. And this was in about 1979, which they were quite expensive, like $55 at that time. We thought that was expensive. My mother was so mad at him, only because he didn't have the money to do that. But like I said, I could go on and on for baseball. Tracy, where are you on my screen here? There you are. I loved your speech. You hit every point that the evaluator was supposed to listen for. It was very persuasive. In my opinion, this speech could have been a 10-minute speech. You could have elaborated more, and you did a great job elaborating on heart, HEART. You told us about honesty. You told us about effective, told us about acceptance, respect. And I think you noticed a little bit the time the light went on when you got to trust. So you didn't go into trust as long as the other 4 letters. But I really loved it. You hit everything. Like I said, you got my interest, you kept my interest, and I learned a few things from you. You ended your speech this morning with a quote, which was great, and that drew us in. I know this sounds like a cop-out challenge, suggestion, but I do feel if you were here, had a Michael lapel, moved away from this podium, lectern podium, and moved into the audience a little more, talked eye to eye, a little more, drew us in, it would have been a more effective speech. Unfortunately, I am one of those HR finance people that you would have met with and said, don't have money for raises, sorry. But that's, the way the world is going right now, money's short. But again, that is my only suggestion. You kept my interest. And like I said, I wanted to hear more about the heart. And you really hit home with it. Thank you.
Our second evaluator is Jill. She's going to evaluate Bill Russell.
Bill and everybody else here who was enjoying his speech. It was a pop fly of a speech. It had nothing to do with research. It had nothing to do with planning. And it definitely wasn't a reprise of last week's speech. So you kept our interest. But your vocal variety is outstanding as always. Your facial expressions are way up there. I don't know if anybody can have better facial expressions than you, although Steve is looking at me telling me he knows somebody. But while your facial expressions were so excellent, you were here last week and you gave a great speech and you enveloped us and you had gestures. And when you're on that little screen, your gestures are down here. We can't see them very much. Occasionally they stick through. And it makes it tough to feel your speech, although you did a pretty good job with that one, with all your memories and the nuns having baseball on instead of class time, I think, by the way it sounded. You're a DTM now. And I'm sure at this point in your life, it's a little hard to say, let's do a speech for a project. I mean, you've been doing the pathways, you were doing the legacy for how long? But you really should try to fit your speech to a pathways project. Especially a little better when you say it's a research speech and it isn't. But we all enjoyed it tremendously. And your memories of growing up with the gang, which we also hear connected to Dave Licata at times, are always so enjoyable to hear. So thank you, Phil.
And evaluator 3 is Carol Ann to evaluate Sue's speech. I mean, she already said not to say yes. It's got to be Margot, not Sue. Margot.
Margot, you piqued our interest right away with the title of Everyone Has a Name and how you explained how actually we have kind of different names in different situations, and the meaning of names. I know often some of the names people are given now, you wonder where they come from and how important a name really is. Now, your clarity was very good. You always speak very clearly and distinctly. You didn't have a lot of vocal variety because I know this is a speech that was more or less memorized for you to present it at a different time. But I know it's good that you use the platform of Toastmasters to practice an upcoming event. You were lacking in gestures, but of course that's, as was mentioned before, the tight camera, it's very difficult. But you had the facial expressions, and you're always very, very comfortable speaking. I know some of the things that you mentioned, I think, I know myself, I'm familiar with the Abraham Isaac story, but I think the way you were presenting it and just touched on it, that others here will probably they'd be interested in looking into that story more. And I did notice too that your gaze, you were looking up quite a bit, not really at the camera, but it was presented very smoothly and very interesting speech.
And Mike, can we get a timer's report?
Thank you once again, Mr. Toastmaster. I'm proud to say, once again, all three of our evaluators qualified. Sylvia at 2:15, Jill at 2:48, and Carol Ann at 2:34. So all three evaluators qualified. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mike. I guess we're going to vote and should pop up for those of you on Zoom. And now I'd like to introduce our general evaluator to give his report. And we are way ahead of schedule, so just talk as much as possible. Do you want to do the, you want to call on the rolls?
Yeah, I can do that after, sure. Well, I love baseball, you know. I've had the opportunity where I work to go to different fields all over the country. I actually saw the World Series played. I saw Sosa hammer one out of Wrigley Field when they were, yeah, remember that one? But it comes back to me that what I love about baseball is, and Sylvia, you kind of touched on it, you know, is that I coached baseball for my sons, and they were 8 years old, right? And I coached all these boys, and we had so much fun. I didn't want to do it at first. I'm like, what do I know about baseball? But I had so much fun. And I'll never forget, there was one kid that he was my catcher, and his dad bought him a bat, and this bat was way too heavy for this kid. He'd be here like this, and he could never swing it fast enough to hit the ball. And I had to say to him, look, kid, you got to put that bat down. You know, I'm sorry. I know your dad gave it to you and everything. And I gave him a lighter bat, and he finally hit the ball. And to see his face on first base when he got his first hit ever was just unbelievable for me, you know, and that I remember that as much as I do the World Series game, really, because it was so much fun to teach those kids. And 30 years later, I see some of them around Newfane, and they go, "Oh, Mr. Florio, we had best time with you as the coach," and it was just really, you know, it hits you right there, you know, and it was a lot of fun. Anyway. So let's see. Let me go over. David, thanks for showing up. There you are. I'm blind half the time. No agenda, but hey, you know, you don't come here that often. But it would have been nice to have that. But it's great to have you here, really, and get together with you last night and have a few cocktails. So that was a lot of fun. It's really neat to see you here because you're just this face bobbing around on the TV screen. So to have you here is great, and you did a wonderful job, really. The evaluators all did the normal sandwich approach, right? Sylvia, I like how you brought up the fact that Tracy, I didn't know how she was going to do it. Heart, you know, you got 5 letters. Oh my gosh, it's only a 5-minute speech, and your sandwich was a little lean, right? You know, come in, yeah, that's true, but Tracy did a great job, so I think you did a great evaluation. Jill, I think you had the toughest job of all, right? I mean, he didn't just go off the pathway; he went off the rails. You know, he's floating around somewhere and we're going, but that's Phil, right? We don't know what to expect, but we're always entertained, right? And anyway, you reeled it back in, and you even made positive out of what he had done, and you kind of maybe scolded him, listen, man, you're a DTM, stay on the path, do what you've got to do. So I like that. I enjoyed that. Carol Ann, you did the sandwich as well, so you did a nice job for Margot. And you brought up good points about the vocal variety and her gestures. And you know, there's one thing about Margot when she's online. I feel like when she's at the lectern here, I get it. You know, she's down here like this, right? But you have control, Margot, I think, when you're at home, of being able to look straight into the camera. And you might want to work on that too. And I would have brought that up if I would have, because a lot of times I feel like you're looking up. Now maybe your notes are above to help you guide you through with what you're doing, but kind of keep that in mind, because you're always You're always a little bit like that. So I'm just pointing that out. That's all. That's all. Anyway, all in all, it was a really good meeting and it was great to have you here. And thanks again. And let's go through some of the reports. Let's see. What we have here. Let's go to the word master. Well, or we'll save you to the last. Give everybody a chance. How about we bring up our grammarian? Marty, come on. Marty, you're going to do just about everything. So you might feel like the general evaluation.
Thank you, Mike. Just everyone had good grammar today. The English language you used well. I did hear some things from sitting far back in the room, some things that did catch my ear. And I heard Mike Licata, Mike said, based on time everyone came in. And maybe I didn't catch the whole thing, but I think we normally say, or you can say, or could have said, based on time everyone qualified, or based on time everyone qualified. You could say something along that lines. Just a minor point. And Tracy's speech, I liked the sentence structure, and she said, she was talking about honesty and heart, and she said that it helps us build better teams and relationships. You know, that's a lot in a sentence. I thought that was very well put together. Communicating from the heart. And Phil Russell's speech, I heard him say, then we went out for dinner and things like that. And I would have liked to heard you say, or I think it would have been more correct using English language to say, then we went out for dinner, period. Or you could have said, then we went out for dinner and drinks. What else did you go out for dinner? Dinner and what? Dinner and ice cream, dinner and drinks, or just dinner? Okay, that's it. Sylvia, you did a great job talking about heart in the speech that Tracy gave. And you really hit it home. I liked when you were commenting on Tracy's speech, you said you really hit it home with it. I thought that was, tied in with the theme of baseball, and good job. And Jill, you use vocal variety when you're talking about Phil's speech. You said your vocal variety was outstanding. I like that. And your memory of the game and with Dave Licata were enjoyable. And to wrap it up, Carol Ann, I enjoyed your evaluation. Something that caught my ear, you said, some of the things you spoke about, and then you paused, and then you said you. I think before you were trying to tie something together, and you had a space in between with the word you. And overall, everyone did a wonderful job. Thank you, Mike.
And you were a master as well, right? Sorry. Mary, come on up. Did I use a lot of gunners in your nose?
Hi, Jen and me upstairs, just so you know. If you're a Sabres fan, my Uncle Al will not like you anymore. Maggie used one Hate used one Darcy used two Carol Ann used 5 and Marty used one
Thanks, Mary. Great job, Mary. Did the Marion, the master, quiz master coming right up? Come on.
We'll figure it out. What was today's word of the day? Yogi Berra, yes. What was today's theme?
Baseball.
I should be answering this so you can all hear it. Today's theme, baseball. What's our club motto?
AM Lockport, it's worth getting up for.
AM Lockport is worth getting up for.
It is.
Club number
5460.
All 3 speakers today had what in common? On the medium of Zoom. What parties should you come to this weekend?
Celtic Festival.
What party you should all join in, please. If you are available and would like to make lunches for volunteers for today or tomorrow, I would love you on my hospitality team. If you're still available for Saturday or Sunday, I'd love you on my logistics team. So I have answers if you are looking to volunteer. If that's your question, I would love to have you join in my team. Radios, maps, schedules, that's logistics. And I know that like half of you in here have volunteered and a quarter of you have attended and attended and attended again and again, and I really appreciate you. And Mom, of course, can't be here today. There's just too much going on, but thank you all for being here.
Celtic Festival, worth going to, worth getting up for. Yeah, we've got in stereo. What do we have now? We've done, that's it. Are we done? I mean, our word of master, our master of word, Mr. Licata.
Mrs. Vera says to Yogi, Yogi, should I cut the pizza into 6 slices or 8? His response was 6. I could never eat 8. So that's what we're going for today. If we didn't use the phrase Yogi Berra, we were using, looking for yogiisms or any reference to baseball. Marty had one, wee Maggie, Craig corrected me, so that was huge. Mike Licata used changeup. Mike Florio, though, was the winner with all his baseball references. And we get down here, Tracy used it. Sylvia Baptiste had it. Phil Russell had 2. Jill said pop fly. Nice baseball reference. Carol Ann had 1 baseball reference. Margot, naturally not. We kid Margot about sports all the time. I said, football game's on. She says, well, what inning are they in? I go, oh, geez. Joe Budnick, we're so happy to help you out with the Yogi Bear thing and the Yogi Bear. Yogi did want to sue them. And there's always a Western New York connection. Yogi's son played for the Pirates, which meant he spent time on their farm team, the Niagara Falls Pirates. So Yogi was in town to watch his son. So I thought we did very well.
David, why don't you come on back up here and I'll close it out. This is David, but you're off the hook. Good job.
Thank you, sir.
Come on up. And what we'll do is we'll just.
Let me.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Campos. First of all, as my role as treasurer, I want to thank everyone that has submitted their dues. We're still collecting dues until the end of the month, and then we do have a little bit of time today. Hopefully we'll do the second chance drawing before we close the meeting. That is my announcement this morning, and I will turn it back over to Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, sir. Are we doing this now or at the end?
Oh, no, make the announcement, because this is the winner for today. And then we'll do that. Eric's got the other.
So we're doing announcements. Does anybody have announcements? Oh, announces. Oh, we're picking the winners. That is our announcement. It is 006. Margot won. Margot.
Yeah, but I'm done.
What's going on? The second chance. I'm not sure what that is.
Oh, sure. What we do is everyone who has lost previously has a chance to throw it in here. And then if whatever we pick out, that person gets the free dues, right?
Free dues for 6 months.
Len, do you have the winners for today? Do we have the winners for?
Oh,
you have them? Oh, okay, good. Here we go. Here we go. This is big money here. $66, the number of the beast. Wow, this is scary.
Yeah.
Jackie Kenny. No, Jackie. Yeah, she did.
We're gonna donate to.
That was spooky.
Okay, and then we'll. Do we need to make a motion, like, how official?
No, this doesn't need to happen.
Yeah, put it back in here.
All right, let's, how about we move on to announcing the winners this morning? David.
Do we have ribbons?
We might have
Oh, there
it.
we go. Oh, they're all on, oh, well, some of them are on Zoom. One of them's on Zoom. Take that one.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. And table topics? No?
I don't see a tabletop that's in there. That'll be a handshake.
They'll just, yeah, just show it to. All right, so our winners for today for table topics is Mark Campos. Congratulations. We do not have a ribbon for you.
He's got a ton of ribbon. This guy, he just think ribbon.
Favorite evaluator is Jill. Congratulations, Jill. I'll let you do the official handshake. And I will get it right this time. Our favorite speaker is Margot. Yay, Margot. Mark, that's only if you don't know her. Margot sues if you don't know her. Margot's if you know her. And in closing, I just wanted to say thank you for letting me be here today. Appreciate it. Thanks. And my home district of 37, my theme this year is from speaker to leader. We want everybody that comes in as speakers to become leaders. So just continue the journey, especially with the consolidations. Marty, I know you ran for club growth director before, maybe do it again with the upcoming. The other reason is the trio gets to go to all the different conferences for free, basically. Toastmasters pays for airfare, the district pays for their hotels and food. Next year it's in Vancouver. The year after that is Paris. So if you get into the trio, you get some free trips. I've been to the Bahamas, California, Philly, and then I'll be in Vancouver next year because we should be distinguished, hopefully. And they pay for that, part of that also for the past district director. And with that, what else do we have? Anything? Closing the meeting.
Well, I am Toastmaster next week, I guess. I am working on it, but September is Happy Cat Month. Happy Pretty Kitty Month, you know? So we're going to do something on that probably. And as of this last night, I need one speaker nobody's confirmed, but there's one actual open spot. So if anybody wants to speak. Don't all jump in. Oh, Carol Ann has, so I will put Carol Ann as a speaker. Okay, because she's a cat lover, so she has something to talk about. So that's about all I have to say. So I don't know who's emptying the meeting. I am, okay.
Where?
Steve, oh, yes. Oh, Star Search. The weather doesn't look very promising for Saturday night. But Star Search is Saturday night. If you feel like leaving Celtic Fest and coming and looking at the stars in Wilson, can we come do it next year at the Celtic Festival? That would be very interesting. Away from the bonfires, yeah. That would be an interesting idea, Katie. Yeah, that would, yeah, okay. No, astrology, yeah.